tonight I'm super, super excited because not only is this person just a wonderful hairdresser and an incredible person, but just someone that I personally have this great relationship with. But we have Lindsey Marie Olson coming on for you. She's a Sambia ambassador, Redken global artist. She's been licensed for almost 2 decades, which is incredible. And for the past 13 years, she's been traveling the world and teaching for Redken, inspiring the industry with her incredible skill set. She does specialize in color and finishing on all hair types, and she was the 2020 US L'Oreal Color and Style Trophy winner for natural texture. So she's got a great, great bio, but more than anything, she is just had an incredible passage and an incredible journey through the hair industry, and that's really what we want to jump into tonight. So please, in the chat, let's throw Lindsey some loves. Welcome, Lindsey Olson.
I could not even express how excited I was to have this time with you today. Andrew, you are such an inspiration, mentor, friend, and I am lucky to be here today to share this time on your Wellness Wednesdays.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So let's just kick into gear with the big first question. What got you into hair?
It's a great question. I actually started working in a salon when I was in high school. I was 16 and I needed to get a job. And not that it's not glamorous, but it's just real life. Like, I needed to get a job and I needed to start thinking about what I was going to do with the rest of my life. And I had the idea that it might be really cool to work in a salon, but I did not grow up in the salon industry at all. I went to Fantastic Sam's. Like, I did not have good hair as a child. Mom and Dad, I love you guys, but I did not have good hair as a child. It wasn't my upbringing. And, not going to say my age, but like around the time that I was in high school, I feel like the salon industry really did start to change and really grow. And I was like, I bet if I worked at a salon, I would kind of like have an idea of like what it's like before I went to cosmetology school. So I started as a shampoo tech in junior year in high school, and was pretty awesome experience. I am very lucky. I got into a team that was pretty amazing.
Nice. So did you, I'm assuming you liked your time as a shampoo tech?
Yes, yeah, I did. You know what? I was really fortunate to be part of a team that they had 2 salons and they were like a really cool team. They worked really well together. They were really big on education. And like I said, I had like no idea about the salon business at all. I just was like, I am a creative individual. I didn't see myself like, I had no like envision on going to a 4-year, 8-year college like profession. It just wasn't even in my mindset. I was trying to find something creative that I like to do. So when I got in there, and it wasn't just the hair, it really, which is kind of cool now that I'm actually saying this out loud, it really was everything else that went into it, which is what has kept me doing what I'm doing and brought me to Redken and Sambia. Like, the hair is part of it. Don't get me wrong. I love what I do, but it's just part of it. It's the same reason why it's just part of why some guests go to their stylist. It is the way they do their hair, but it's everything else that comes with it. And that's what this salon had showed me can happen in this industry, and the options from how many days a week you work to maybe working as an educator to, and it wasn't a Monday through Friday set career. There was so much possibilities that you could have. And I think at that time I was like, this is pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Wendy said that she spent 4 years assisting, and Katie, actually, from our team, she was a chamois girl in high school. Hands were always so dry. Yes.
Oh my gosh, yes. Feeling. But like, I love that I started so like early before, because I waited till I graduated high school, took the summer, like still just worked at the salon during the summer and went to cosmetology school like in the fall, like I would be going to school. And I'm so grateful for that time. One, I love the whole shampoo experience, and I think it's major. I learned so much, before I even got to school. So I always tell, anybody I meet now to try to get into a salon to see if it is what you want to do and learn from it before you even start the process. So,
yeah. So then you worked as the shampoo girl. Did you continue to do that through school, or did you stop doing that and go to school? Or
yeah, no, I did. I ended up doing like my senior year. They had the option. We didn't have the option at the time. I know some schools now where you can go to cosmetology school at the same time, but it wasn't an option. But we did have like a co-op program. So junior year, I started the job. senior year, I started to do like more like almost like working like full time as a shampoo assistant, because I got to like leave school at like noon and work like 8-hour shifts. And then I went to cosmetology school, stayed working. I stayed working at that particular salon for like almost 5 years. So through before school, during school, and then went on the floor after it. Because like I said, it was a pretty awesome team that I was with. They did everything. Like they were, you know, really about the experience for the guests and the education for the team. Like they're a big Redken salon. They went to symposium. Like they had educators come in. So I saw like the whole picture. I'm like, this is amazing. So I had a huge journey just with that. But like I said, it really opened my eyes to like the whole side of the experience of a stylist and the options that you could have.
Yeah. Yeah. When was the first point that you started to see like, oh wow, this whole kind of like artist journey, like I could be an educator? When did that come into the picture?
That was really actually, you know, it's funny, like at the time I didn't think it was like that soon after I started doing hair, but it really was. But I remember I did Redken specialist program, probably like, I don't know, I was probably only a stylist for like a year or two. And I remember, I will not, and a lot of people that have been that have gone to education, it's like one of their starter programs that it does, it like fuels the fire for you. You're just like so inspired. And I remember leaving that program thinking like, I just wanted more, more, more. Like I want to like be a part of it more. And I never in a million years would ever think that I would actually be teaching, standing on stages, traveling the globe, making videos. I never thought of myself as like a public speaker or anything like that. But I really wanted to be the best I could be. And I was like, if I teach it, I gotta be really good at it then. Like, so I would be taking all the classes before everybody else, and I would learn the techniques for everybody else. And this would make me like really good at what I do too. So that was like the start of it. So it was, yeah, just a few years into working behind the chair. And then I went into artistry.
Nice. And was that with Redken or?
It started with Redken, and now I get to be a part of Sam Villa team as well, which is absolutely amazing. So it started with Redken. It's about 14 years ago that I've been with them. And that whole process is a journey on its own. Like, and even, like I said, the reason to start, like sometimes I feel like when I say the reason I started, it almost sounds a little selfish, but you don't know what you don't know at the time. At the time I was like, you know, I don't know how old I was. We don't have to go there. But at the time I was like, well, I want to be good. I want to like really know what I'm doing. And yes, I wanted to help other people, but it was more at the time like of helping my guests, because I didn't know enough about artistry. I saw it and I knew like you would be really good at what you do, but I had no idea the friendships, the collaboration, the creative balances that you can have, how you can expand yourself. I didn't know anything about that because I wasn't in it yet until I got into it. And then getting into artistry, it just completely, it still evolves. Like the first couple of years, it evolved of like what I loved about it and what I wanted to do with it. And it still keeps evolving. Like me and you have had so many conversations about like our careers evolving and like, what do you do next? And, you know, I'm super grateful for all the opportunities, but like, I think your passion and your reason in a sense just shifts because you see it in a different way. Like now I love helping as many people as I can. And when I started to do things like standing on stage, I remember being like, I don't need to be on stage. I'll be backstage. I'll do everything for everybody. It's okay. And then it was like, well, I want to share. I want to show them what I think helps me behind the chair. So then it turned into like, but I kind of want to give them my gems so that they can take that behind the chair.
Right.
And then it goes from like, not only did I want to share it to the audience, but when you get to stand on stage, you also get a team that helps you. So then I wanted to do what other artists have done for me and help build up my team. So then it's like, I like being a lead on stage because it's not even just about what I can help with the attendees and stylists on a huge platform, but it's like the 5 people that might be your teammates that you get to help build them up too. It's so incredible. Like I can't even express how amazing it is and how grateful for it I am.
Well, and I love that you're bringing up the fact that like things change so many times, because I just want to kind of like for Lorena, I see that you're just getting into or you're just in hair school right now. And I can reflect exactly what Lindsey's saying too, which is there were so many things initially stepping into my apprenticeship that I thought, oh, well, I'll be this kind of hairdresser, or I'll be this way. And then you step into certain opportunities, even expecting a certain thing from that opportunity. but all the time it was like, oh wow, that is not exactly what I expected it to be. And
Right.
then it evolves and it becomes something else. So
Hmm.
the reason I think this is great, Lindsay, that you're sharing this, especially for Lorena and for other people that are starting out in the industry, I think it's so key for us to stay really open to
Hmm.
what could come next.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Like, and sometimes that can be challenging, as we all know, to stay open,
Mhm.
and letting go of what you think it is supposed to happen. It is hard, and like even
Mhm.
like to this point now, like I sometimes struggle with like knowing like in one day my whole October can shift like 50 times, and I know you know this because certain dates have to be moved around, and I know this and I love this about my life, and I know how to manage a schedule. And sometimes you're like, just let it go. Like it all works out. But if you don't somewhat set yourself up, you kind of miss out on what really could happen that you're meant to see. It actually reminds me of, I can't remember who brought this up, but it was in an experience that we had together with a bunch of artists. And it talks about like when we are teaching, sometimes like when we're helping, we want to help like basically like in like ground the information. Like we want to debrief,
Mhm.
we want to make sure that you guys really got it. And sometimes when we are doing that, an attendee might you guys might share something that we didn't even think of, and you have to be open also to what the learner is getting from it. It might not be
Yeah,
what you thought you were sharing, but if they got something else from it, you have to be aware of that and like let it go and be like, oh my God, I didn't know that me holding the foil board like that was going to help you so much. But I'm super happy that, forget the technique. This is just how you hold the board. And this is actually going to help you so much more than the technique. You know what I mean? Like you have to be
totally.
present and open throughout the whole process of it, because there's so much that is possible that can happen. And this even goes with doing hair. So like it's super powerful and super important.
It's so funny because when I've been out on the road with Sammy, or like we're some of the video content we've created, it is always so funny to me that people always want to learn his little scissor and shear, or scissor and shear and comb flip that he does, where
Uh-huh.
he kind of flips the comb and holds it in the same
Yeah.
hand that he's cutting.
Yeah.
And he's sharing this like
Yeah.
super cool haircut with interesting sections and all this stuff, and it's like, can you show me how to do that little scissor flip thing? And I'm like,
Totally.
that's really what you're getting?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yep. I know. And I try to remind myself of this all the time, even like with putting content out there, because I want to share as much. I know you do too. I just want to share as much as possible. Like it's, I am always blown away that if something I do actually could help somebody, like all I want to do is give it away. Whatever it's a formula, a color placement, how to apply a product. And sometimes when you're trying to create the content, and I've actually noticed this just like definitely this last year, of like how to really like take the bite-sized pieces out of the content, because it's really just one little thing, that one video, like, and I tell this to anybody that's trying to teach something, I'm like, think of like, honestly, one video, you probably have 50 gems in it. Like there's so much that you're giving, and just like break it down, because every little bit, we all do things differently. And this is what's beautiful about our industry.
Yeah. I mean, one of the most popular videos that I have on the Samvia channel is like how to flat iron.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I almost didn't want to do that video because I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, who cares? Like,
Yes.
I'm sure all these people have had lessons on how to flat iron hair,
No.
but these things that sometimes we personally take for granted,
Mm-hmm.
those are the things that other people are like, no, that's really important.
Yes.
And not everyone did get the opportunity to grow up in a salon. And it
Mm-hmm.
sounds like you had a salon experience like I did, where people did want to learn and they did want to share and they did
Yeah.
want to talk about these things. And what
Yeah.
I recognize is there are a lot of people out there that don't have that opportunity to learn from the other people in their salon, or they don't have the opportunity to have great mentorship.
I know, which is why, like, I'm so grateful for Zambia team and platform, because it's, not everybody does have that. And it is a
Mhm.
huge part of what helps us as artists. And I love seeing everybody that's joining us today and the comments
Mhm.
today, because, and I always know this, like, whenever I am a part of Sam's anything, like the the community is so strong.
Yeah.
And it's something that obviously Samvia has built up so strong to know that, you know, we are here, we want to support, we want to empower, we want to share. And, you know, like, it doesn't matter how good you get or how many accolades you get. It's like we all need to be able to have a community that we can learn from, ask questions, feel safe, not judged, you know. So I
Yep.
love seeing so much always energy here too, and being a part of it, because everybody needs that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's one of the things that, you know, they talk about, like the blue zones, like these places that people live these really long, healthy lives. And one of the commonalities with blue zones are community, that they
Yes.
have a sense of community. So,
Yes.
and
Yep.
I saw Rosie saying, like, it may sound silly that she doesn't know how to hold and flip the shears. And surely, yeah, it's not silly at all. Like, these are the things that, again, it's these things that if we didn't have those direct mentors that like sat down and said, look, here's how you hold the scissor,
Mm-hmm.
here's how you flip it back into your palm, you know,
Right.
your palm.
Yeah.
It's not silly, it's just, and I think that's the point, is it sounds like for you, and I know for me, it's actually brought a lot of humility too, that it's like, don't ever take for granted that something so simple and so foundational could be exactly what people need from us.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. Yes. And you know, I try to share that as much as I can as an artist to salon professionals, because I like to share it to other salon professionals. Not that I don't share it to guests, because I still work behind the chair, but then
Mhm.
salon professionals, especially, they're sharing to their guests, and the guests, you know, want to know too. Some have an easier time to communicate that they want to learn the new things. Some of them are a little bit more challenging to, you know, whatever they're, you know, it's just the way that we communicate things. But especially like, I'll use teaching textured hair, curly hair as an example. It's very easy for somebody to maybe get intimidated by it and feel like they don't have anything to share with somebody that has textured hair, because sometimes like a guest with textured hair walks in and it looks so good, and this is just what I've experienced on the road, and it's like, what am I going to teach them? They already know how to do it so good. And I'll come in and, you know, teach a class to this salon, and the thing I tell them always is like, I guarantee you have something, at least one thing, more than one thing, that from today you will be able to share with that guest. It might be the smallest thing. It might be, I made a video of I love how you brought up the video. I made a video of how to use Redken's acidic bonding concentrate shampoo. And it was so important and helpful to so many people. And I'm like, it might be just how you emulsify the shampoo before you put it on their head that's going to help make their whole results so much better. So like, we have to, like, even, you know, stylists to guests know that there's so much that we have to share. You just got to get out of your head and just like focus on little bite-sized pieces that help you.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the first time that Jesse Linares came in to shoot video content with us in the studio. He was so concerned because he's like, what do I possibly have to share with these people?
Mm-hmm.
And he was so worried about having enough content. I'm like,
Right.
Jesse, I promise you,
Yes.
you have so much. Like, just
Mm-hmm.
shoot a video, like teach me how to cut a bob,
Uh-huh.
and we can pick apart, like you're saying, within that one video you probably have 20 videos, you
Yes.
probably have 20 little tips that
Yes.
it's like, wait, the way I hold my shear, or the way I hold my comb, or the way
Yeah.
that I section, like every single one of those pieces is essential. And I
Mm-hmm.
love what you're saying, because it also connects to the clientele, right? And again, like I can share from my own experience, there were so many times as a hairdresser where I didn't offer things to people
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like, well, they know this. Or
Right.
like I would take for granted that, like you said, they came in and their hair looked so good that I'm
Yes.
like, I'm
Uh-huh.
not going to tell them how to blow dry their hair. They're so good at it already.
Yes. Yep. But I know that's why so many of us are in this industry,
Yeah.
is because you like to make people feel good about themselves. And even like that statement, I remember when I first started doing hair, like I never knew how big that was going to be for me and how rewarding it was going to be. I know, and I don't mean this in disrespect, like, oh, because I know a lot of hairstylists, so like, I like to make people feel beautiful. I just didn't know how empowering that is, and how much it
Mhm.
fuels you as a hairstylist behind the chair to know that you really like, and it's not materialistic, it's not ego, it's not um, chauvinistic, it's not any of that. It's really important to know that you are helping somebody make them feel more confident.
Yeah.
And and beautiful and stronger. And it might be, yes, the way that they blow dry their hair.
Mhm.
And if we don't share, then they don't get it. And it really could be something small, and it'll make your whole day completely different.
Yeah. That's honestly exactly like that's one of the things I've always loved about working with Sam is because I think that's why he has been who he is within our industry for so
Mhm.
long is he does respect that keep it simple, like make
Yes.
it real, like
Yep.
make it something that's achievable and approachable
Mhm.
to anyone that works in a salon. And
Yes.
I think that's why Sam has had the longevity and the career that he's had because he doesn't take the little things for granted and he
Right.
does keep that simplicity.
Yes. And he focuses on teaching, teaching, teaching.
Yes.
Like, they all, there's a million some searches a day on YouTube for how to do something. Everybody wants to know how to do a new trick or style their hair different, or what's the latest, the newest product. And now more than ever, so many of our guests are exposed to everything. Like, my guests they know what Shades EQ Bonder is, like, because they see it. They're like, what's this Bonder stuff coming in? And that didn't happen 15 years ago or 5 years ago. I haven't been in the industry that, no, yes, I have. A few years ago. And I love that, though. I love that it is so much more out there, but it's also up to us to like keep it sharing it as well.
Absolutely. So you are the kind of person that always has a lot going on. Is this something that has always been the Lindsey Olson way, or is that a
I should
newer
see my sister's
development?
on here. She's gonna go with this one. I know it.
Come on,
Yeah,
Heather,
yes. Hi,
jump
Heather.
in here.
I know. Yes, it has. And you know what? Here's what I would say about that. I have learned ways to, I don't want to say calm down, but to appreciate calmness as the only, always, yes, as important as calm now is. And honestly, Andrew has helped me tremendously with this.
Mhm.
So big time. To not only to know how that being calm is just as good as being productive. Like, you have to
Mhm.
have the calm to be productive. But what I would say with that is and this is also something that I know Sam has said, and I agree with him, is not everybody has something inside them that helps them run a certain way. Like, not everybody is going to be on stage. Not everybody's going to be on videos and going live and be comfortable and have a good time. I truly enjoy what I do. The energy like that I get after I do a program or have a conversation like something like this is, something that I can't not do. So like part of my life I have to like I can't not bring this out and
Yeah.
utilize it, because not everybody has this like, I don't know, we're not all designed to do that, and that's
Right.
okay.
Yeah.
Like, not everybody is going to be on stage, and there's nothing, we're not all supposed to be. But if I have like this, like, I don't want to say like calling, but in a sense, then I want to do the best I can to help as many, because I do enjoy it. And not everybody has that. And I feel like it's like doing a disservice if I don't do that. But the productiveness and the busyness, and that's something that me and you have talked a lot about. And that is something that I wanted to share too, is like how important it is. And especially as being a hairstylist, we have been trained for so long to run your business a certain way, especially if you're like me and you've been doing hair for more than 5 years. The way things that were booked and the way that we're trained is success. And how do you transition from that old school mindset of what is successful and how you actually can be successful? And one of the things that I really want to do the next couple of years is, I don't really like the memes that make fun of like, oh, hairstylists just eat 1,000 calories when they get home from
Right.
work, and they don't get to sit down and they don't get to use the restroom. Like, I kind of want to help change that outlook and, know that we can be really healthy. And this is not about a size. It's about healthy and feeling good.
Yes.
You can be healthy. You can feel calm in the day. You can still make a ton of money doing it. But you're not exhausted. I've been doing hair for almost 20 years. Yeah, about 20 years. And I have had the days where it's like insane how exhausted you can feel. And I just want to do something to help the outlook of that, of like changing a little bit of the industry in that way of like, be successful, be productive, reach your goals, get accolades, but be healthy. Take time to read a book, go for a walk. It's okay. You don't have to be the hustle is over glamorized.
Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. Yeah, we had Raymond Torregano on maybe like 6 or 8 weeks ago, and that was kind of the whole subject of our conversation was like this idea like there is a healthy hustle. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't have to look a certain way. And
Us.
one of the things that you said that I really want to kind of cue in on is that not everyone's the same.
No.
And I think that exactly what you're saying, I think this is where we got into trouble
Mm-hmm.
because like for me, I apprenticed under someone that he loves to be busy, just slammed, 20
Mm-hmm.
clients a day. And
Mm-hmm.
that was his style.
Yeah.
And so he infused into me the expectation that that's the way and that you have to be a successful hairdresser.
Right.
And it created a lot of burnout moments in my life because I'm not that person. Like
Mm-hmm.
I wish I had the energy that Lindsay has, honestly. Like I wish I had that, like just yeah, more, 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 more. But I'm,
But I'm
my
getting so
limit of
yours, so I need a little bit of what you have too.
yes, we share, right?
Yeah, totally.
But
Yeah.
I think for each person, and to wrap this up because I'm blabbering now, but what I thought was really key about what you said is to recognize that each of us has a different pace. Each of
Mm-hmm.
us has a different way. And if your way is, I just want to be a hairdresser 3 days a week,
Mm-hmm.
5 hours a day, and the rest of that week, I want to be home with my kids, with my family, with my, fill in the blank. That's
Yes.
awesome too. Like
Yes.
you get to design it. Not everyone needs to be a Lindsey Olson where they're,
Exactly.
flying on the weekend and then come home and like right back into the salon and all that. That's not what everyone's path is.
Exactly. Yep. I'm super happy that you brought that and like recap that because it is a major part of like why I don't want, when we see other people, especially, the more that we're exposed digitally and social media, um, it's kind of like actually I had a conversation the other day about this. It's like when people see other people that are out and it makes it look like they're having the best time ever. And a lot of it's fake, to be honest, right? It's like you guys have all been at a table seeing people sit there and all they're doing is taking pictures and then there's no conversation going on. They're actually not laughing and talking to each other. And you might be home studying or reading a book or getting rest and you might feel like you're missing out, but it's not for everybody. That's not for everybody. And it's like you really do have to just focus on like what works for you.
Mhm.
Like there was a really good quote. I actually used it to put this flyer on. It's like it's more important in how your life feels than how it looks. And I love that.
Yes. I
Like
love that.
it really is. And like like I said, I love about this industry. Like couldn't agree more. Like if you just want to do hair 3 days a week, that's what's beautiful about this industry. You'd be so successful and you work 3 days a week
Yeah.
and go for it. If you want to travel the world, you can travel the world.
Yeah. So for the people that are like you and motivated to like they want to have the life on the road and they want to have that aspect, they want to teach, they also want to still have a clientele,
Mhm.
that they want to have those multiple pieces. How does one do this and not just burn to the ground and stay
Yeah.
healthy?
Okay. This is a big question.
It
So
is a
now
huge
I'm
question.
gonna,
We
I'm
can
gonna
take it in bite-sized chunks.
yeah, so I'm gonna take it bite-sized puns. Bite-sized pieces. Number one is like I love being a part of Sambia and Redken. Like both brands have completely changed my life. So I think it is important that if you are gonna do artistry, to find a team that really is your team and supports you and fuels you. Like
Mhm.
me and Andrew had done this one exercise one time, and it really like kind of like helps you identify what is really fulfilling. Like you can like kind of like write it out on a map, like how much fulfillment you get out of it and how much work you put into it. And like, is it equal? Is one more than the other? And I will forever obviously remember this exercise because it really helped me a lot. So I think it's super important to know that you're with the right team that really helps you. So that's number one. And obviously I would vouch for both teams because they have changed my life. And the other thing is, and this is definitely something that I've discovered more like the last like just few years, is the power to find out like I kind of look at things of what, in a sense of like what I just brought up, like is it something that's going to one just and maybe it's going to inspire me either creatively, professionally, personally, like is it something that like I need to be fueled with? Is it
Mhm.
something that's going to advance my career? And sometimes if it doesn't fit into one of those, it might be an opportunity that might be better for somebody else. So sometimes like you have to say no to some things. I want to stay behind the chair and I am still behind the chair. The last 2 years, I added more days because my traveling had gone down. But now the traveling's picked up. So I'm, instead of as much as I want to keep the salon days, and I'm still in the salon, but I had to make a decision not that long ago where I'm like, you can't do it all. You have to,
Right.
you just can't. So I do work behind the chair and I do it all, but it's learning to say, well, you know what? Like I actually need a day off to have a real day off and not just to prep mannequin heads and book flights.
Yes.
It's to fuel yourself, whether it's like and I'm really big on fitness, like really in diet, and not in like not that you have to follow the way I do it. I just firmly believe it's full circle and it helps you live a happier life if you are feeling good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I, again, just want to really reinforce this is that if you're going to have this sort of lifestyle, because I'm the same way, I like doing multiple things. Like I don't like just having one kind of job.
Yes.
And I think I'm seeing a lot more people wanting to have that sort of lifestyle where it's like, oh, I'm a coach, I'm a hairdresser, I'm a teacher, like I'm a partner in the salon. If we're going to do that, you can have all those things,
Yes.
but I love what you're saying. It has to be in the right amounts.
Yes.
And then I do see that that's becoming more acceptable too. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it's generational because it used to be if you're going to be a hairdresser, you are at that salon 50 hours a week,
Yes.
Tuesday through Saturday. You never
Mm-hmm.
miss a Saturday because it's our big money day. Like there were so many expectations and so many rules. So
Yeah.
I think you're spot on.
Mm-hmm.
You can do these different things. And I think it's more available now than it used to be to
Mm-hmm.
say, I'm only going to do 2 days in the salon. And then
Yes.
I'm going to do 2 days of education.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm actually going to have a day off.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I
A
know.
hairdresser, a busy hairdresser with a day off. Imagine that, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and I'll be completely honest. I started to get there before COVID, and then during COVID, and I'm sure I'm not alone. I had a really big eye opener of like it took me a while to like really figure out like, oh, this part of this
Mhm.
actually works.
Yeah.
Like because you don't know what you don't know. And when you are in a routine, like whether you're just in the salon right now and you are doing the 50 hours a week, you're working every weekend, you're staying late, you're squeezing guests in, you're doing all the things to make your business work. You think that's the only way. And until I was forced to see a different way of doing things and how even like my mind and body reacted to it. And we've talked about this. Like I didn't even know. And if you guys follow me, you'll see me go on walks like almost every day. I had no idea how powerful an hour walk in the morning was. Like I would just get up and I'd have to get in the car and I'd have to get to the gym a certain time and I'd have to start running my miles and that was it. And I never just like took the time because I didn't think I had the time. And now that things have gotten back to I do have a busy schedule. I'm not going to lie, but I have been so much better about still taking days off and still
Yeah.
waking up and going for the walk and making sure that happens. And it has to, you do have to have that happen, else you will burn out. And even like what I love how you brought it up, that it has shifted like a little bit, like it's more accepted. I love that you brought that up. And I love when I hear from other stylists that might reach out and ask questions. Like I do a lot of photo shoots and they're like, oh, I want to do photo shoots. And I love that. Like you don't have to be an artist, but like maybe you want to do something, just like a little something else different, but still stay behind the chair. And all that's going to do is make you a better stylist behind the chair.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be, have a little bit more creativity stretch. You're going to learn something different. You're going to meet different people. And then it's just going to make you better behind the chair.
Fully. Yeah. And like a couple of comments here that I just want to touch on. Antoinette actually said that she's been doing hair for 32 years, taught for 4 years, really been thinking about what you're doing. So this segment's spot on for her. So thank you, Antoinette. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
And Shirley and Rosie both kind of mentioned that COVID, it has really shaped things for us. And,
Mhm.
So here's a great point, is that COVID forced us to do
Mhm.
something that we have to do to change, which
Yes.
is to step into something
Mhm.
different. We
Yep.
have to find the courage to step into something different. With
Yes.
COVID, we didn't even have a choice. So
Nope.
we didn't even need courage to step into something different.
Mhm.
It just forced us to. But I
Yes.
really want to recognize the fact that that is what has changed so many people's perception of
Mhm.
what it looks like to be a hairdresser in our
Mhm.
industry, which was a very needed change. And it took a pandemic
Yeah.
to get us to change our perception of our industry. Like,
Mhm.
I think we need to let that soak in a little bit,
Yes.
because that tells us we should probably be checking back in with these belief systems we have much more often.
Yes. I cannot even I'm so happy you just brought that up and said it like that, because I am constantly, and I'm sure you guys, chime in on the chat bar.
Yeah.
I'm revisiting how I felt. Don't get me wrong, you guys. It was not easy. So don't think
No.
I was just like out there walking thinking this was the best time of my life in the beginning, because it kind of sucked in the beginning. Okay.
Yeah.
So do not mistake this that, oh my God, this girl is like killer positivity. Trust me. I had my own struggles. I went like literally, I went from like being home, not even, I don't even know. I was gone a lot before COVID. Like I would travel 3 to 4 weeks out of the month. I was in the salon not even 2 days every week. Like sometimes it was only 3 or 4 days a month. So my travel schedule, it was insane before COVID. But what I will say is like I am constantly, because at some point during it, I felt great. I
Yeah.
found this like, oh my gosh, like this, uh, some of this feels really good. I haven't had this experience. Like I want to feel this rested. I want to, and don't it still can be challenging. I think we all have a little anxiety that still is like working with that.
Of
But
course.
I have to like, I try to bring myself. I'm like, what was working? What was making me feel that good that I need to bring back now? Because as things get busier and busier and busier, it's really easy to get back to a place that might not have been the best for you, but because we do no other way, we were in it, and
Yeah.
like I didn't think about it not being the best way for me mentally or physically. So like I keep bringing myself to like check back in of like, wait a minute, did I go for a walk every day this week? When's the last time I picked up the book? Because like, and you guys,
Mhm.
like, I did not, I love reading. I read so many books over the last 2 years. And before that, it was probably like one book in the past. I don't even know. I never finished a book in years. And now it's like, therapy time. It's like reset
Yeah.
time. It's like just as important as the exercise is to like have that like downtime. So it might be a movie for you. It doesn't matter whatever it is, but it's just making the time.
Yeah. And that's the key, right? And, one of the things that you mentioned earlier is that one of the things that's really helped you to be able to live this lifestyle of, having the travel and having the, the salon schedule is just taking care of yourself too, through how you feed yourself and, taking care of your body through movement. So,
Hmm.
talk to us a little bit about that. Like, how did that become something that became a passion for you?
Like the food
Yeah, like the
and
food and
exercise,
the
the whole thing.
exercise and all of that.
Um, and that also shifts. Like I think,
Hmm.
whatever it might be for you, for me personally, as a female, I think, and anybody, we like fluctuate. And like I had realized at some point that some things I was eating wasn't working for me and it didn't feel amazing. So then I've been vegan for like almost 20 years. And I'm not saying vegans, I'm not here to preach about veganism. It was just realizing like what was working for me, because I
Yeah,
support whatever diet works for you. It's just finding something that works for you.
yeah,
And but why I bring it up is like with traveling, and especially 20 years ago, like how do you balance it all and a salon schedule? Like I know I make videos that like I almost like make fun of it. Like I packed all my food for the day, I meal prep, and then I didn't eat any of it, because I'm just being real with you guys. Like I do try to plan ahead, and like I said, I really want us all to be healthy. But yeah, it really comes down to like I want to feel great for as long as I possibly can. I don't want to
mhm,
be limited, that I feel tired. I want to be able to see the world at 40, 50, 60, 70. Like I don't, and it really does come down to how you take care of your body and your mind. Like it 100% does. And our industry, I don't think, unless you're behind the chair, and maybe my twin sister, because she sees a lot of it, you might not know exactly how it feels to work a 12-hour day behind the chair. It's not easy at all. And I think people dismiss it. And I don't like that either about our industry. So it's realizing that this industry that some people think is just like fluff. And I'm just being honest. They think it's like fluff and we're just doing hair and it's, you know, it's fun, which I do love it, but it can be really hard on you if you don't, you know, take care of yourself. And I want us to be able to work long days or short days, but feel good. So it might be finding the right diet and preparing food for the day just to make sure that you have it versus like ordering Uber Eats or whatever it might be, which is actually kind of a great thing because no matter where I'm at in the world now, like I remember when I first started traveling and being vegan, I was super skinny because there was like nothing to eat.
Right. You're like, oh, I guess I'm eating lettuce again.
For real. It was like lettuce. So, but now, like, no matter where you're at in the world, like I can get my groceries delivered to my hotel room. There's, you know, or I can get anything delivered that I want. So it's just important because it really makes everything else better. Your work is going to be better. You will be more successful if you feel good. And I've been there. I've gone home from a day that's like not great feeling. And like I said before, I really, if there's anything I can do that would help avoid that feeling for myself, number one, of course, and anybody else. That's why, like, sometimes I like, just like anybody else, I overthink what you put on social media. I'm like, do people really want to see what I packed for the day for my food? And you know what? They do.
They do,
like,
yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'll share it. And it goes back to the little bite-sized pieces of what's important sometimes. I'm like, all right, well, here's what I packed and here's how I did it. And I never realized, like, even with traveling a lot, like I'll post like when I'm bringing like on a flight. I had no idea that so many people didn't know that you could bring your own food from home for a flight. And I was like, oh my, let me help you guys. Cause I'm super sensitive to what I eat. So I will bring what I'm going to eat, especially if it's even if it's a short flight or a long flight, it doesn't matter. And when I found out that that was helping people, I'm like, this is amazing. I'll share it. Sure. I'm packing tofu and avocado. Here we go. Let's go. We're going to Florida. It's okay. And not to be embarrassed about it anymore. I do remember that. Like I remember, especially like the first couple of years, not only just being vegan, but like going to grocery stores when I first got to like a show that I was going to be there and walking in, you know, the first thing I would do is go to a grocery store. This is, again, some of this was before, and I still like to go to the store. I don't mind going to the store, but before like Instacarts and, you know, all the amazing apps now that deliver everything to us. And I remember being so self-conscious of like walking back into the hotel with my grocery bags and like thinking, God, this girl just cared. Like, God, Lindsey's always going to have food with her. And like getting so embarrassed about it. And you know what actually started to happen is like, people would be like, are you going to the store? I'll go with you. Or can you get me something? And, you know, you just have to kind of like get out of your head about that too. And be like, it actually might help somebody. Like this, again, also like goes with like, I think the older I get and the longer I'm in the industry, it's like, I know we're always told like, be authentic, be yourself, like just own it. Don't worry about what everyone else thinks. And it's like, God, it's such a, you know, a piece of advice that we're all told for our entire lives. And God, it's so true. It really is. Just be yourself and you will help somebody else.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, by example, right? That's what they always say. If you want to lead, there's 3 ways to do it. By example, by example, and by example.
Yeah. Yeah. And don't be embarrassed by it. If it works for you, you know, it might work for somebody else. And if it works for you, you'll also attract the other people that you can help. And, you know, this has also been a challenge, like even like with social media, it's like, oh, what do I want to put out there? Just put out there what you want to put out there. And the right people that should be following you and should be a part of your community will like it. And if they don't like it, there's a million other people you can follow.
Absolutely. I was following this one person that they had posted this thing in their stories. And I was like, wow, this is really incredible. And what they said is that they were going to become more authentic through social because what they realized is that their social media looked completely different than their camera roll on their phone.
That's huge.
And they were like, that's not authentic then. And I was like, that is really interesting. And I kind of looked at my own and I'm like, huh, okay, this is interesting. There's a lot on here that I don't share with people. And no, don't get me wrong. I don't think you have to share everything. That's not what I'm suggesting. But I think what they had realized is the persona that they were showing on social was not accurate to who they truly were. And
Right.
so I think you're spot on. It's like the more that we show up authentically, then that's what
Mhm.
will support and lead people. And
Yes.
actually, there there was a post the other day about leadership that I saw, and it's like, guess what? You're always a leader. Like, you
Yeah.
don't choose to be a leader necessarily.
Hmm.
Just posting something on social, you are now a leader
Yeah.
because you put something out that someone's going to see and go, hmm, okay, that
Right.
person that I kind of look up to, they're doing this. And
Hmm.
so that also means we have to be cautious too, right? Because if
Yes.
we want to be good leaders, what are we sharing? What are we putting out there? So I
Yes.
love that.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, you remind me too, like the other thing about like being authentic that I think can be a challenge for all of us. And and the reason I bring this up is like it doesn't matter if you're an artist or a hairstylist, we all are using social media to help our
Mhm.
businesses as well. And I know it can be super stressful. Like but it really totally can help your business too. Like I am blown away at how much it's changed my career. Like blown away. But the other thing that like I had to get out of my head is like you know, I don't want anybody thinking I have an ego. Like I am not in, like I might share fitness things, but it's not because I'm like, oh, look at me. I think I'm there already. It's like I had realized like, and thank you to people that do follow and comment on it because it also helps me know that it's helping people because they're like, thank you for sharing that because it inspired me to go for a walk today. And I
Yeah.
had to get out of my head again and realize it's not about me. I definitely don't want, it's not about showing off ever, 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 ever. Cause like I have a million goals that I haven't achieved yet that I still want to work towards. But like, if
Yeah.
you can realize that you're not showing off, you're just sharing what works for you. One, if you're being authentic and people see that, they will know that too as well. But like I used to get in my own head about being like, I don't want people thinking like I just think I look amazing or
Yeah.
this is the only way to eat or you have to do it this way. But if I do share it, it might help encourage somebody that changed their day. So that's more important to me than me worrying about somebody else judging me thinking I have an ego.
Yeah.
Not easy to
So true.
do, but it helps. And I brought that up too because like I love that we're at a point with social media that people want to know who you are more just as much as they want to know what kind of hair you do. And
Yeah.
I remember when social media really started to be bigger and more important to a salon professional's career, I remember saying, and you didn't know, I didn't know at the time, saying like it should be professional.
Yeah.
People don't want to see your cat. They want to see your hair. And now I'm like, show your cat. If you got a dog, like you have to show it all now because people want to know about you just as much as they want. You have to have hair too that inspires them because you can't have it too much because like I know, like I look to certain people's pages because I might go there to pull a piece of inspiration for like a shoot I'm going to do. And if they're an amazing makeup artist and I can't find a picture, I'm like, oh, I know they're amazing. Where's the work? So you do still have to have both. But I love that we're at a point that people do want to know a little bit about your personality. And I agree with you. You don't have to share it all. Like it's okay, but it's
Yeah.
nice to like just know the person.
So true. I it's something that I really genuinely love about a shift. I think not just even on social. I think what we're seeing in social is a shift in just what people want. Period. Which is they
Mhm.
want authenticity. They want connection, and so they
Mhm.
want that on Instagram. They want it on
Mhm.
Facebook. They want it, here on Wellness Wednesday. They want it in person, and so I love this shift where people actually do care who someone is. And to
Mhm.
your point, like if I'm choosing a hairdresser, actually, I can tell you a story about this specifically. When I first moved here to Southern Oregon, I didn't even think about the fact that I was going to have to find a hairdresser for the first
Mhm.
time in almost 20 years
Scary.
because I'd worked in salons for so long that, of course, like I had my buddies or like people I personally trained
Mhm.
to give me a haircut. So I
Mhm.
get to Southern Oregon and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to find a hairdresser. So I
Mhm.
start going to these different salons. I went to a few and it was bad. My hair did
Mhm.
not turn out good. And so I was like,
Mhm.
okay. And I went to this one person, and the haircut was actually great. Like they did a great job, but they were so just caustic. Like their personality was so caustic. I mean, they were like dropping the F bomb in the middle of they owned the salon. I mean,
Mhm.
they were like loudly dropping the F bomb. And there was this like, 85-year-old woman sitting next to me in a chair. And I'm like,
Mhm.
are you for
Interesting.
real? So it's like, I think we're at a great place where who we are is
Mhm.
maybe not even just as important, but more important than
Yeah.
even our work.
Yes.
So I love that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like was actually having a really similar conversation about um, people that I've worked with and the work. If you can't, and I hate to say this, but if they might be better at the skill, but the personality, the um, morals, the work ethic is not there. It doesn't matter how good you are at the skill. I would not prefer to work with you.
Mm,
I would prefer to work with somebody that like I can have good energy with, that we respect each other, and we can coach each other on the work. We can make the work happen versus even having the better work and then having to deal with somebody that like I don't have good energy with, I don't vibe with. Um, ethically it's not good, maybe disrespectful, any of that. So I couldn't agree more.
yeah, absolutely. Well, Lindsay, this has been such a fantastic conversation. I can't believe we're already like kind of coming up to the
I cannot get
the
over this. Was
final.
the best hour ever. But this is how, like, I was saying earlier, like, I truly enjoy always connecting with you, Andrew, and like super grateful for your energy. Like, anytime I have a conversation with you, it's amazing. If you guys don't currently, like, Andrew has it all. Like, he covers all of the angles, which is why, like, artistry, hair, stylist, mentor, inspiration, wellness, mindness. Like I'm like, it's like all there. Which
Yeah.
well, I knew the conversation was going to be incredible. Your energy is awesome, and I'm super grateful for the opportunity to be here as a guest for Wellness Wednesdays.
Well, I can see by the comments that people are taking away a ton. Just great inspiration. And if you are not following Lindsay and you want to continue to be inspired, like she mentioned, she shares so much of her own heart through her social that whether it's hair inspiration, fitness inspiration, any of that, Lindsay is kind of a one-stop shop and she definitely shares from her heart. So definitely go give her a follow.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to share everything from hair to a really good smoothie recipe. Maybe the food blog. Maybe the food blog. I have mastered the smoothie. I will tell you that. So if I can't do hair one day, I'm going to be on the mountainside with a raw food cafe making the best smoothies and coffee there is known to man. That's plan C. I don't know. I'm just saying. So
I needed a new protein powder and she was the first person I called. So
so I mean, you guys can ask away. Hair, protein, whatever. Happy to help.
absolutely. Lindsay, thank you so very much. Please, if you haven't already, because I am seeing lots of people commenting, but if you haven't already, let's show her some gratitude, some thanks in the comments. Thank you so very much, Lindsay.
Thank you so much, Andrew.